Hello.
All right.
So far, the station's getting interesting. We've got a big thing in my face, a lot of flags.
Rocket.
Yeah, a rocket.
And a minecart track.
Somebody said it was apparently their MRT line. And then, of course, you got a beacon over here in the corner next to this table. Sasha, Chief.
See, we've got a GSM space program going on.
All right, kick exemptions have been issued, so...
Has Kitty relogged? Because I know Kitty's power just went...
Well, that's the thing that he said was going to happen. So we've got Frumple TV and MBN.
And Kitty said that they were rebooting their computer.
Yeah, so I'm not going to hold on for too long here. Just sending one ping. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, can you not block me, please? Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Frumple, are you live yet?
I've already been live for a few minutes, so...
Okay, not sure what I believe is about. Kitty, I assume, will go... Okay, not sure it is about live. Kitty, I assume, will go live as soon as we get on, but I think we're ready to get started. I have to... Like, am I about to sneeze here? What's going on?
Yes.
Nope, we're fine. Okay. So, all right, let's get going. So, hi, everybody. Welcome to the November 2020 General Staff Meeting being held at, Cece, what is this, A43 station on the Arctic Line Extension. We've got tons of streamers who are, AP, move. We've got tons of streamers who are broadcasting today. We got Frumple TV, MBN, and Sasha, and we will have MBS and BNN going live shortly. Cinder has a very loud keyboard.
Yes.
We got a couple of announcements to give you from the private portion. So let's get into it. First off, we have our Premier City Reviews. We haven't had one of these in a while, but we had Oparia submit for Premier. And alrighty, we're going to real quick do this. Pull up the ballot. All right. So the vote, for those who are new, premier cities, they're judged on a different set of criteria than senator and governor cities. The criteria for premier city, and we say that these are criteria, these are just things that help inform the yes and no vote. Because staff just vote yes or no on the whole thing. We don't break down our vote by category like we do for the other ones. The categories that we're looking at are expressive. So, we're looking at kind of your, it's like, kind of the scale and the variety of things. Planned is more about scale, but also just is it laid out really well and all that sort of stuff. Individual is your specific building style, and then culturally significant in like how well it's connected, how much people know about it, that sort of stuff. These things stand for epic. We decided these criteria back in like 2015. They've been around for a while. The ballot goes up, and you need an 80% majority in order to pass. So there were 8 staff voting, so we needed 7 for the town to go through. The ballot results are as follows. The vote was 8-0 for. So congratulations to Kyle for promotion to premier. And I will now unmute you if you'd like to give your acceptance speech. Okay,
Hey,
you're
what's up,
muted.
guys? Okay, I actually have to go to
Said
your
unmute.
TM because I forgot where I left my speech, so I'll put that up in just a sec. Okay, so I'll start now. I joined the MRT for the first time on the 2nd of April 2020. I was just like really bored during COVID. And after looking at 3 city maps, I thought maybe there are some servers for this kind of thing. And I've spent my time here for a little over 7 months, and it's been fun, most of the ride. No matter what the results of the GSM are, which clearly has gone in my favor, has been one of the fun parts. One of the reasons I've really stuck around here is the community, and I've made connections here that I definitely would not have been able to, just strolling down my street, and I'm really grateful for that. But this isn't really about my belonging, which will be discussed in approximately 15 minutes. It's about my city. So I really loved making Oparia from the start to the finish. Little name drop here. Elite Neon was the first person to come visit Oparia, setting up a wooden dock at my downtown for easy access, which is now removed, but is still historical. It went to New Mackinac and the ROE capital, and from then on, Oparia grew to have like 160 buildings, I think, at this point. Yeah, to the state. And that growth just like even astonishes me, and it astonishes me because I'm not really that creative. I really like following a format and doing the same thing over and over again, and to an extent Oparia is like that, but I also sort of dipped in like being creative at that section. But there's also just a lot of original design and good builds that I've ended up quite proud of, and it has been quite the project, and this is quite the server to do it on. And thank you for all the support, and I guess stay tuned for moderator nominations. That should be the fun part.
All right. Thank you, Kyle, and congratulations. We'll be posting the feedback and all that in the usual folder. I assume that Gods will post it in there fairly quickly. 3B. So talking about the redacted topic, there was one. I stuck it in there last second. Basically, we just needed to debrief some of the events that have been going on with the moderator nomination discussions, as well as some of the changes in the moderator nomination system that we are making as of this month. So essentially, we've decided that there are a few things that we're going to be changing for October. Could someone get Agarn out of the way? The media is probably in the way. Okay, so here are my notes for what we're gonna do. So
October,
based
Chief?
on basically,
December.
yeah.
Sorry.
You're good. What?
You said October. That's
November.
back in time.
Okay, sorry. Thanks.
Let's do the time warp, guys.
Yeah, clearly. Okay, so here are my notes. So basically, we're mostly concerned about what's been going on in the Discord channels for the moderator candidates. Essentially, there's been a lot of discussion, and not all of it has been great or productive or helpful to us. Like there are some channels where it is almost impossible for us to actually pick out the signal from the noise and to kind of focus on the evidence that people are bringing forward, the thoughts and opinions people have about the candidates and the candidates' responses. So we want to kind of re-ground the conversations there. So we're going to do a few things. So beginning in December, so for the December candidate round, we're going to be enabling permanent slow mode on all nomination channels as well as the nomination general. We're going to start at a 15-second slow mode. If we need to bump up, we will. But this is going to be a permanent thing because, and again, we feel that it's appropriate here because we want to still allow some level of conversation, but we just want to remind you guys that like you need to be reading each other's messages. So this will be enabled permanently. Reminder that the channels are intended for productive conversation and submission of evidence and feedback about the candidates. And it's not a place to try and start bandwagoning with people, or getting into a shouting match. If the point is to be civil and calm and to bring out constructive criticism and to bring up feedback that is going to be useful for everybody else. If we need to intervene, we will. There are a couple people who we've already talked to privately about some of their conduct in the channels. And we're not going to be issuing any formal sanctions today. But we just do want to make sure that you all are aware that we may need to step in if there's anyone in particular who's not being calm and civil.
Sorry, Chief, can I just interject in there?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'll be very specific. The people who I talked to and have been asked to not participate in November's nominations, those are Court, Elite, and Crimson. I've only asked them for this month. In the next month, they'll be allowed to participate if they can. But I'm going to say in general, if those people or others decide to not be civil in those channels, we will go straight to warnings this time around. So.
Yep. But yeah, just if you feel like you're yelling or that you're getting up on your high horse that you have to get defensive about something, then you shouldn't be in the channel. So then in that instance, it'll be good to remove yourself, go calm down, come back later. And again, the primary purpose of the Discord channels is to bring evidence to light for the staff to see and help us make our decision. We want to remind you all that even though the Discord channels are there as a convenience, that you can always email any kind of moderator candidate feedback. That's like any public comment in that you can submit that right up until the meeting begins. So feedback and evidence is totally okay, and actually email is the best way to submit these things because then we won't lose it.
Just to be very clear, we would prefer that you submit evidence by email.
Yeah,
it's a lot easier. It's a lot easier to organize. It's also a lot easier for people to see because the problem with the Discord channels, there's so much discussion that a lot of evidence gets lost. So
yeah, there's no threading, so it's hard to follow. So yeah, that is our strong preferences. If you have evidence or if you have even just any kind of feedback that you want to make sure that we see, please email it to us because then we're able to easily collate it. Yeah. Just because something is minor does not mean that it is not worth discussing. So if you have concerns about a candidate, even if you think that they're minor, please voice them. Because sometimes it might just be you, but a lot of times it won't. And hearing all of these different things are incredibly valuable for us to make our decision. Because that's all good stuff to talk about.
I'll add on to that, sorry, Chief. I did see a lot of instances where people were shutting down people for posting minor things. Please do not do that. We want people to be able to feel comfortable posting these things. To you, it might not feel minor, but to them, it might be rather personal. So keep that in mind. Let people have their say. I can't believe I have to say this to the server, but please let people speak.
Yeah. On that note, reminder that unless you are a staff member, it's not your job to decide what is and is not good kind of conversation. So, voice your opinion and then get out of the way for other people, please. Last comment on this. There were a lot of low effort posts, both in the new nomination channels as well as in the staff reviews of, oh, this person is great, no complaints, or this person has been really helpful, or I haven't seen this person online ever, so I can't really make a comment. Those are really low effort and they are really not helpful. So don't post low effort. If you are going to make a post, you need to include evidence, or at the very least, you need to be specific in your commentary. If staff see a really low effort post, we're just going to delete it and just take it straight out of the channel. So please don't be offended if we do that, but be aware that staff or other people will challenge you on it. And if you see a low effort post, the best thing to do is either nothing and we'll see it and delete the post, or respectfully challenge whoever posted it to include evidence.
Yeah.
If you're going to challenge someone on a lack of evidence, or if you're going to challenge the evidence that someone is bringing forward, please do it respectfully and ask it and allow them to respond. Don't just be like, Chief, you didn't include evidence. This is bad. Like, no, that's not good, and that will also be deleted and could lead to a warning. So,
I just want to re-emphasize that point. We saw a lot of that, or I saw a lot of that during some discussions. Again, I want to make it very clear. It's up to you of how you choose to react to messages. There is a good way and there's a bad way. The good way is to just simply respectfully ask someone, please provide more evidence. I want to hear more about your point and all that sort of stuff. Like something along those lines. There is a bad way, and we saw too much of the bad way during these discussions. And I've already talked to several people. We all need to learn how to do this better, right? So it's up for you guys to step up and think about how you respond. Because keep in mind, when you respond in a bad way, that just escalates the situation. Other people will react and misinterpret what you said or think of it like a personal attack. And then we get the situation we saw before. So it's up to you.
And it's also backseat moderating. And again, unless you're a mod, it's not your job to moderate what's going on the channel. Like, challenge people, yes, but don't moderate unless that's your job. And again, I'll get to in just 1 second. I think it's also just worth reminding everybody that, like, we expected that there are going to be some things that we're going to need to change about the system, and this is certainly along that vein. So we are going to be making some changes on our end, but 80% of the issues were with the public and how a lot of you guys were participating in this process. So please keep in mind that what you do in those channels is, even if it's not about a single candidate, is going to impact how we address the system and address the community.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to if you guys want to have a civil conversation, then you need to step up and be a good example of how you want that conversation to be.
I'll just add one more thing. This is based on Mega's suggestion. If by December we still see the same problems, then the next step will probably be that we'll just not have these Discord channels. There'll be no way for people to debate in those channels, and we won't allow people to debate in other channels either. So, but you will still be able to submit feedback by email, both positive and negative, but there'll be no more Discord channels. So if you want to keep that privilege of being able to debate, then yeah, you know what to do.
Vault, you had a comment?
A few, yeah. Just regarding their conduct, so I'd really encourage folks to listen and be calm. There's been cases where folks have tried to bring up genuine feedback on people, and cause I have actually had to sometimes nudge people too when they voiced it to me privately. And in cases they've voiced it, and then they've responded to me saying that they just feel horrible because they felt like they weren't being listened to. They felt like they were being dogpiled, which resulted in them not wanting to participate again, even though they actually presented genuine feedback. Hopefully we won't see that again, because when people stop participating, that weakens the system significantly. This system has a lot of potential to be an incredibly positive thing for the server. It lets people voice their genuine concerns about a moderator, so they can actually adore a potential moderator, so that both staff can know it and realize what is the person they're potentially inviting the team will be, and it also lets the person themselves know what they can be doing better, and it prevents these things from festering, which, as seen with the investigation, when things don't get voiced and they fester, problems happen. It's going to take a lot of community work to get us to function correctly, but I think there's a lot of potential here for a system that could really help. I think I've said a lot of nothing, actually.
Alrighty. I do want to move on to the rest of the meeting. There are two statements that were pre-planned from Frumple that I think if I open the public agenda, which would help.
Yeah, I'll go straight into
if,
them.
If you want to get into your statements, then go ahead.
Sure, thanks. The first statement is regarding the survival server. It's not happening. I'm sorry. Because it's mainly because of the events that have happened in October. It also there's a lot of reasons, but because we have even less staff now, and even before I knew that only a subset of that staff of the staff that we had were even interested in survival, it's very unlikely that when the survival server starts running, like we'll have enough manpower to moderate it, because I can imagine people on survival server getting into even more conflicts because people steal stuff or go into their other people's territory, that sort of thing. So that's just not going to happen, unfortunately. I'm sorry to people that were expecting a survival experience. I know that in the previous survey question, a majority of the people who voted were in favor of having a survival server, but it's not going to be happening this year. And also the 116 update was pretty late, so I just don't have the time at this point. Whether or not it happens in the future, I'm not going to answer that right now. I want people to expect that it may not, because it'll really depend on what the state of the community at that point, and whether there's appetite to do it, and whether I have time to do it, and motivation to do it. So I'm just saying, expect that it won't happen, and if it does happen, then at least you'll be surprised. So the other part, other statement I want to make is I think we're ready to finally update to 116.4. There's actually been some late changes that have happened. There was a player head issue that was on beta server, but that's been fixed. I did actually reset the world to a much more recent version, so it has also your ranks updated there too. The map is from November 11th, so only a few days ago. So the head issue seems to be fixed. Armor stand tools weirdly just updated just a couple days ago too, which was very interesting timing. It is the plugin author did state that it was a beta release. He said that he didn't have the full time to go through a thorough test of everything. It is on beta server right now, so we will go test that later after the GSM. So after GSM, there will be a performance test where we're just gonna basically get as many people on there as possible. In order to facilitate it, though, I will be shutting down main server for about an hour, maybe less, and I will set beta server to have just as much memory as main, just so we can properly emulate real world conditions there. So yeah, this will happen after the GSM, whenever it's over. I will let you know, and I will encourage all of you to join. And when you do join, please do not spam mobs, because that can affect our test. But do run around, do go to different areas, do load chunks, because that is the main thing that's causing our performance issues in today's Minecraft.
Sorry, just a side thing. Somebody's raised a question about the thing you said about the shutting down potential. Do you want to comment on that now or in the
Okay, I will make a statement about that. Based on what has happened with, well, not just October, but also the stuff that recently, I am very serious about my threat, if you want to call it that, of shutting down the server. I am quite pissed off and quite angry that this community has gotten to this point. The thing I'm not entirely sure right now is it just a bunch? Is it just a few people, or is it many people? I will say that the few people did get reprimanded, but I did also see some not so great comments from other people, and those people weren't reprimanded. suffice to say, if things don't improve and if people do not step up, then and if the course of conversation gets worse, then I don't feel like I want to run the server anymore, because like why would I spend this much time trying to get people to talk to each other, get people to have conversations, get people to be civil to each other? Like, that's not what I signed up for. So yes, so I am very serious. It is on you guys to step up, and I'm also not just talking about within moderator conversations, like the conversation that happened in Kyle's channel. Like, there's still rifts, there's still gaps between parts of the community where people are not talking to each other and not listening to each other. If you can have if you're able to have conversations with those people, with the other side, so to speak, then I encourage you to do so, because the only way forward for this community is by doing that. And these issues have been, as Volp's investigation uncovered, these issues have been lingering for years, like literal years. So people need to start thinking about that. Okay, anyway. If you have more questions about this or any of the other things, then we can definitely talk about it in the Q&A at the end. But that's all I have to say in terms of my statements.
Section 4.
Ready for the fun part?
Oh boy.
Oh no.
All right.
Moderator nomination time.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Let me begin this by just saying thank you to everybody for submitting all of these nominations. There were a lot, and clearly a lot of, clearly some of you guys hold a lot of people in high regard for all of this. So thank you for all of this. All nominations, again, are public, so you can see the whole list. And a reminder to everybody that if someone does not get promoted at today's meeting, that the nominations don't carry over and that you'll need to submit a new nomination. You can include some of the same evidence, but if you're resubmitting, please don't just copy paste your old nomination. Because again, and I think a lot of it's going to depend on if someone doesn't get promoted, the specific reasons. Reminder on voting procedure, that all staff have the voting options of yes, no, and abstain. Frumple has a veto, and he's obviously able, the veto that he's exercised already, that we're aware of that.
Just to clarify also, I can vote no, but not veto. Just so that's very clear. So.
Right, yeah, a no from Frumple is not an automatic veto.
Yeah.
But anyway, and so staff, a candidate needs to get a majority of votes, including counting abstentions. Candidate needs to get a majority to be promoted, and no more than 2 no votes overall. We do have 1 absentee ballot that will be counted with equal weight. So that means that a candidate, so considering that do we still have 8 staff here? I believe we do. So there's 8 staff present plus 1 absentee, so candidate needs 5 yes votes to get promoted. Mm-hmm. All right. With that said, 4A, Kyle.
I'm a yes.
Yeah, I'm.
You're going straight into your bed.
Yes,
He's going right into it.
We've
This
spent
man.
a week discussing these and seeing feedback. I'm voting.
I thought you said you were actively paying attention to the channel.
Keep.
No, I'm saying if I hadn't been actively paying attention.
All right, hang on. Let me get a ballot. Hang on.
Just keep in mind, I didn't expect people to debate here at the GSM so much, because again, most of the debates already happened. So if we do just go straight to voting, I kind of expected that. So
Yeah.
All right, hang on. Let me get my ballot.
Thanks, Vicky.
If I can spell juice. Okay. Chief. Paul. CC, Vicky. Bulb. Is God still here?
I am still here.
Okay, great. Okay, so I guess we'll just roll call all these, and we'll just see what we got. Okay, so 4A is Kyle, AP.
I'm a yes.
Sinra.
Yes.
Chief is a yes. Frumple.
I'm neutral.
Cece.
Yee. Yes.
Vicky.
Vicky has said yes in staff chat.
Promoted. Well, not yet. Actually, hang on. Volp. Volp, you voted on the absentee, but do you want to switch?
I don't know. I'm inclined to vote neutral here. There's stuff that makes me want to say yes and stuff that makes me want to say no. I don't know.
So that's
And that's
two.
Go for
Two
more
abstain.
conservative. Just go for neutral then. Neutral then.
Okay.
Yeah.
So 2
All
neutrals.
right. Gods.
I'll vote for.
okay.
Okay, and Unchins is a yes. 7. That is 7 yes, 2 neutrals. Promoted.
Okay.
Congrats.
See, that was easy.
Congrats,
Don't.
Kyle.
Yeah.
That was easy.
Wow.
That was probably the shortest premiere tenure ever.
What, 1 hour?
Less.
Not even that, like half an hour at most.
Okay.
He
Or
never
B.
even got to use. He never even got to use the yellow tag. Just went straight to orange.
We should
That
delay
was-
his
that was on
domination
Discord,
just so he
he
can
saw
say premiere once.
I guess I can unmute myself now, but
Yes.
yeah, rip me as Premier.
Premiere for
Congrats.
5 minutes. Goodbye. All right.
Okay. So
We
Kyle,
can, we can just demote him so you have him come on, say something in premiere, then promote him.
No.
See?
Actually,
It's simple.
He's so mean.
Okay,
Hold on.
Kyle.
Chi, did you
reminder
count
to
all
you-
votes? Sorry, just want to make sure here. Like Yoshi's here. Did you get his vote?
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Oh, Yoshi,
Hi.
you're here. I didn't.
I am
didn't
here. Hi.
Yeah.
Hi, Yoshi. Vote. Yes. Sorry.
I honestly, I don't think it matters at this point, so I will not. I will. I will not say anything. To be honest with you.
No. You should still say
No,
your
you-
vote, Yoshi. Like
You
this
should
is,
vote just for the record. It's not going to change the result, but
yeah.
um,
That's the point of
but
the process.
your vote still matters. Your vote still
Count all the
matters.
votes.
So sorry about that.
Oh, God.
I will vote
God.
neutral.
Okay.
Okay. So 7 yes, 3 neutral. That is still a promotion.
Mhm.
Okay, voting on Dalt AP.
Sorry, just to hold on here.
Yep.
Just a point of procedure. When it comes to new mods that get promoted here, are they allowed to talk about in the participate in the rest of the GSM? Because I know we had some issues.
I think we said. Yeah,
I have a
think we
speech
said
and
that.
debate tournament, so I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
As I say, I think we said that like we might start applying ranks in game, but that your official service doesn't start until the meeting's over.
Mhm.
Okay. Just to make
That's
that
been
clear.
our procedure for a little while. Yep.
Okay.
I'll join
Yep.
the server for a sec. So
Okay. Don't forget that you have to VFJ now. But anyway, okay. Okay, voting on Dalt AP.
4, definitely.
Sinra.
4.
Chief is a yes. Frumple.
Neutral.
Cece.
Neutral.
Vicky.
Vicky is 4.
Volp, you voted on absentee. Do you want to keep that?
I think I'll narrowly vote 4.
Okay, that's a yes. Gods.
I am for.
Yoshi.
I'll go neutral.
And let me just confirm that this is actually from Unjin's ballot, as opposed to being from Volpe's ballot. Unjin's ballot has Dalt as a yes. So that is the exact same result of 7-4-3 neutral. Dalt promoted.
Welcome back, Dol.
Ooh.
Welcome back.
Welcome.
Okay. Dinty B. AP.
I'm going to narrowly vote 4.
I'm in the same camp.
Okay. Chief is a yes. Frumple.
I'm voting no. I'm not vetoing.
Okay. Cece.
No.
Vicky.
All right.
Against, that is a fail.
That's
But
3 votes, but might as well just record the rest of the votes just for.
we'll still record the rest. Yep.
Yeah.
Volt.
4, very slightly.
Okay. Gods.
Against.
Okay. Unjins was a no, and Yoshi.
Against.
For the
Okay, that is 6. Yeah. Go ahead.
For the purposes of this, can we just talk about why we're voting no and why we're voting yes? Just for the record.
Sure.
I don't think there's enough evidence presented for me to vote in favour.
I think I concur.
I concur with that, and also I think just based on what Dinty said, I'm not really sure Dinty wants to be mod based off his own channel.
That's the vibe I got. I mean, sometimes the best mods are the ones who don't really want it, but in this case, I have a feeling Dinty just this is not a slight against him. He just sort of put his name out there, not knowing, how rigorous this process is going to be, and well, unfortunately, the nominations that came in from the people that submitted didn't really stand up, unfortunately. So. Oh, Chief, Yoshi's asking if we can re-rand. I
will randomize it. Yep, I'll randomize it.
Sure.
Random number generator.
I was going to say for this one, just do it reverse order.
Yoshi's vote is the most important. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
Welcome to Electoral College. You have to win over Yoshi to get moderator.
Yoshi is Georgia. Okay.
Got it.
Little do we know.
Okay.
All right. So
Okay,
does that bring us to 4D?
Well,
Needin.
One more.
Hang on, Yoshi. I randomized it, and random.org put you at the end of the list again.
That's why I think we should do just reverse alphabetical.
Random.org is spoken.
Okay, I randomized it again. There we go. You're no longer at the end of the list. Okay, so
Did it put him in last again?
It did not put Yoshi in last again. Okay, so I'm voting yes just because, again, from the times that I've been interacting with him, it's been a very positive interaction. I mean, I fully support the fact that more evidence would be great. I also just am of the mindset that I would like to give people a chance, and it's like if I don't know, I would say I didn't see anything that was a massive red flag, so to speak. So.
That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, again, the kind of hesitation to accept it, I can understand that could be an issue, and I would hope, that if Dinty, if you were comfortable with the idea again, and you wind up getting up again, that who knows what the outcome would be at that point, but
okay.
I think that it could have worked out if you'd wanted to, so I would have been happy to give you the chance. So,
sorry. Before we go into Needin, can we also just have a look, just discuss about why we voted for and neutral for Kyle and Dalt, just to get that out of the air, just so we can get the reasoning out.
Sure. For Kyle's been incredibly helpful to various members of the community. Been very open and willing to help other people in the community, even in his short time on the server. Relatively short, I should say. Just very, very helpful, very kind, very friendly. And I think that those qualities would make him a good staff member.
I agree with Zimmer here. He's made a significant impact on the server for the better.
Mm-hmm.
It's been, particularly in the last couple of months, been quite active with the issues of the server. So, yeah.
I'll comment on why. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say that a lot of the comments have been brought up so far, which I fully agree with. Really easy to work with, and I think I've voiced my main opinion in his channel kind of early in the process. I know that one of the main complaints and one of the concerns that we had internally was with Kyle was, sometimes, it feels like, I don't know, like you might get a little defensive of things, I think that as well as, just general listening and maturity, stuff like that are all things to be working on through, during your tenure here. But I think that, you've got room to improve, but I think that where you're at right now is not holding you back from being able to take on a leadership position. So
I'll just state why I voted neutral. Originally, initially I was neutral. I do think Kyle is a very decisive person, and I think that's actually a good quality. I think he's actually more decisive than some staff here. But I did have that concern about his conversation with Subway. Kyle did respond to that, and I will say I was actually satisfied with his answer. So I was actually, for a time, probably going to vote for. The problem was there were quite a few, they're not major complaints, but quite a few little things here and there from a bunch of different people. I think some people were overblowing some of those complaints in the discussion, and I tried to keep that in mind. But there are quite a few. So that brought me back down to neutral. That's my reasoning there. What about, does anyone have any other further comments about Kyle, or should we move on to Dalt as well?
I will say there was some concern initially about, and I will bring this up, with Kyle and London's conversation on masks. However, Kyle has since apologised, and obviously he didn't have the full picture here. I think he was making a judgment based on the available information. So, I think his response was part of what pushed me into 4.
Mm-hmm. I have nothing else to add on Kyle's. What's already said.
I'm pretty much the same view as Frumple. I combine that with me. There are some things I do like about Kyle. The decisiveness is a pretty good quality, and he is direct, although that sometimes can shoot him in the foot and help him. And there were some concerns brought up during the actual nomination review channel, which is why I've been flipping between a for and against and a neutral, and I decided if I'm flipping like that, I should probably just vote neutral.
Okay.
On to Dalt.
Yep.
On to Dalt.
Actually, I'll go first if no one wants.
I can go second.
I did ask in the channel. I was trying to look for more evidence. I'll be frank. The nominations that were submitted, compared to all the other nominations for the other candidates, there wasn't much specific evidence. I did ask in the channel for more of that. I also saw a lot of MPO related stuff, which I'm going to admit, for someone who's not following the MPOs at all, I had some difficulty trying to follow what the heck was going on. You guys deal with a lot of complicated stuff in those MPOs, Jesus. But yeah, I did ask also in there for more evidence, either for or against, outside of MPOs. No one really responded. So based on that, that's why I kept my vote neutral, because I don't know. So
I do concur the evidence was pretty weak. Personally, if I had to just base it off the evidence and only the evidence provided in the channel, I would have probably voted no, just based on a lack of evidence. My view was much the same last time Dalt came up. The primary reason I did vote for, though, was based on personal experience. I did vote neutral last time because I just didn't know. But the way Dalt's been handling the, was it Modfest, Modpocalypse, or whatever, his attitude and tact following that, his ability to just the way he's been handling it based on how he resigned. I'm probably not making much of sense. My words are falling apart right now, but
no, you're
fine.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I entirely, my vote for 4 here comes from how impressed I am with Dalt handling the situation.
Mine as well.
Yeah, that was professional, well done. I mean, even though it's not exactly fair to consider past service because you've been a mod before, it's still the stuff that you did while you were a mod was still really good for the community as a whole. So yeah, so I'm more than happy to have you back at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have nothing against Dalt. I mean, I went neutral the same kind of reason Frumble did. Of Dalt's review channel was kind of quiet. I was hoping to see more stuff brought up for or against, like for Dalt or against, just because I felt Dalt has been decently active, so I thought there would be stuff, and there just wasn't. I know Dalt has done a great job in the sake of staff role, and I was trying to make sure I didn't use that as any sort of bias in any way, and that's kind of why I went neutral in the sake of this vote.
Yeah. Okay.
We still have to vote on Needham.
4D.
I was about to open the ballot. All right, so I have randomized the list. Yoshi is not at the end of this list, so here we go.
Hey.
Sinra.
Oh Lord, you came to me first.
He wasn't ready.
I'm neutral.
Volpe.
4.
Yoshi.
Against.
Gods.
Neutral.
Okay, I need to pull Ungens' ballot. Which Ungens' ballot is a no.
Ooh.
Frumple.
I'm voting 4.
AP.
I'm voting 4.
Next up is Cece.
Neutral.
Ooh, this one's going to be a mess. I will vote yes.
Yeah.
Vicky.
Pretzel, don't spam, please.
Pretzel.
Pretzel. Is he actually not in here?
He's in game.
Okay, interesting.
Ooh,
I
that's
think
a close one.
We need to talk about this one, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's because it's not a majority. It's plurality.
It's all over the place.
because we're allowing neutral. Jeez. Yeah. So yeah, the votes were 4 yes, 4 neutral, and 2 no.
Right.
Who wants to go first? I guess.
I could.
Actually, I don't want to go first.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I can. Well, I'll say at least the biggest thing for me was there was not that much concrete evidence for me to make us say yes, and there was a lot of things that you could see from other people, which is maybe they help a guest, and maybe it was I think an example of helping a guest. There was an example of just being active and being friendly, but I don't think that's enough for me to stand out for a moderator candidate, especially on the side of leadership and conflict resolution.
Okay.
I personally voted for. I will agree the evidence was pretty weak. I think Needham's channel was by far the most quiet. The reason I voted for was because I have worked with him many times in the past. All of that has been positive, especially with the MPOs. He's been somebody I can trust him to get a task done quickly and with quite a high degree of quality and consistency. I would trust him to do the same in the staff position. I do think he's somebody who does take his responsibilities and assigned tasks quite seriously. The main drawback with him would be the communication, which I do believe can be worked on, and I think he has expressed a desire to improve that. So this is why I'm willing to give him a chance, and if I would like to see him nominated again at some point if this fails here.
Vicky is very interested in my take, so I'll give it, I guess. I was originally neutral about Neenan. I had concerns again with the LGBT, his views on LGBT, but I think that got resolved. The other part was his and that's not a slight against him. It's his method of communication, or the way he communicates is not. It's not the easiest. It's not the best sometimes. I did, but based on that, actually, I was actually most impressed by the responses that he made in the discussion channel. He had made an effort to answer all the questions in a comprehensive manner, and try to address other people's issues with him. So I'd have to review the evidence again. So maybe there is merit, and maybe there wasn't enough evidence. But that's the reason why I voted for. So.
I will concur that his responses were pretty good, and they are why I'm in the for camp, because I think it does show he wants to improve in his communication. And again, this is his biggest fault. So if he is able to already show a desire to improve on that, that's a pretty big for me.
And I think
my main reason for being neutral was simply I didn't have enough evidence to go for. I didn't have a significant negative reason that was pulling me away from yes. I just didn't have enough to push me over to yes.
Yeah, that's, the main reasons I don't think there's enough evidence which me will go against. And additionally, while I think, he definitely can work communication, I agree with that. I think it might be better to wait for another DSM and try again, rather than working on it while on the staff team.
Okay. Yeah, I think, Volp and Frumple hit a lot of the points for me. I was impressed about how he's handled the questions and stuff in his own channel. That was really great to see. Been a good person to work with. As a Bennett, as a very small factor, being in a non-American time zone is great for coverage. So, which I know that we are trying to get more staff outside of the American time zones.
Not just for coverage, but representation from other countries. So,
right, yeah. Exactly. So, which again, that's not enough to warrant a promotion in and of itself.
But I think Vicky says should be flipping a vote or something.
Vicky, you're flipping?
I don't. I will say I want to push back against what I gave earlier, which was about answering questions in the channel. I think definitely responding to the arguments of other people, I think is definitely a plus, and that's I'm glad that he did. However, I don't know if we should be praising it or putting it that high in the list for reasons, just because, in fairness to the other candidates involved, Neenan's channel, honestly, to be very blunt about it, was like one of the least volatile channels out of there, and he kind of had to deal with, I think, the least stuff being thrown around, to be honest. So I don't know which way to judge.
Except for the LGBT stuff, that was rather volatile in the beginning, like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. No.
Okay.
Yeah. If anything, I think Dinty's was actually the least. But anyway, that's
Dinty's is pretty quiet.
Okay, yeah, I would say other than Dinty's, I think, yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, Vicky's just brought up in that I think she's flipping her vote.
I just got it. Yep.
So I'm still kind of neutral, Needham. I mean, I have worked with him before, and he's like been a nice guy. But I think when it comes to tough conversations, for me, I know Needham goes straight to London to ask for help on how to word things. Sometimes I'm wondering, like, Needham definitely needs it. Trying to get the right words here.
Okay. No, like you need to ask London for how to word things.
Okay.
No, it's my stutter too. But I'm more worried about his. Huh?
No, nothing. I couldn't tell. Sorry.
I had a history of stuttering. My point is, I'm more wondering about his confidence in the sake of having those tough conversations. Aside from nominations, sometimes to me it seems like Needham can shirk away or like kind of back away, as I've seen on Minecraft server. But like again, I've had decent conversations with him, which is why I've kind of been neutral, really on the edge here.
Yeah, to me, I think it's one of those things where I think I'd be much more. I think there's definitely potential, but I would want to wait till next time.
Yeah.
and wait a little more to get some more evidence. The lack of, I think, concrete evidence is the thing that really is solidifying my vote against. Like,
And
nothing
don't get me
personal against
wrong.
him, it's just there's
it's a
not
fair
enough.
point. It's a very fair point. So
Don't get me wrong, I definitely could see like Needham being a staff member. I just would like to see more to support that.
That sounds to me like a nominate next year, or, encourage people to nominate next GSM, ideally with stronger evidence.
Yeah,
I mean, for
that's
anyone-
as
for
Purple already
anyone
said.
Or if the evidence doesn't exist, just needs more time, like for Needham to just get involved in the community and stuff. So
he needs more time for evidence to be generated. How about that?
yeah.
Mm. So
Yeah,
we're
okay,
saying.
So for folks asking, since I forgot about Yoshi, so you would need 6 yes votes in order to get the promotion. So Needham will not be promoted today, but of course, Needham, you are eligible for consideration at the December GSM if you get new nominations. So
Best of luck, Needham.
best of luck to Needham and anybody else. And just friendly reminder on policy on that is that if you're a candidate, no soliciting nominations, no being like, hey, like I can't go to CC and be like, hey, CC, I'll nominate you if you nominate me. Like, no, that's not cool.
I'm sure it'll happen sometime. Someone will try it. We'll see it.
Someone's gonna try. Please don't. We'll see right through you. We're pretty good at that. But
yeah, and if it does come to light, I mean, we have shown the past that we will kick them off staff team.
I want to bring up, by the way, I'm unsure if we have clarified this for pro staff. Is it just a simple majority and that's it? Because is that how we're doing it?
So just to be I wrote this on the end of the process. I'm open for this to be changed, but I'm basing it on how we've decided before during the private portion, and it seemed like it was 50% majority, and as long as no more than 2 people didn't vote. I'm open to changing this maybe to something like a, I don't know, 2/3 majority or 3/4 majority, just to make it a little more clear.
Yeah, I just, because the only thing that is kind of weird is that it's, in a way, it's technically harder to get Premier than Mod in the vote counts, which is kind of weird.
So yeah, that's true, because it's 80% for Premier, right? So,
but that's also because with Mod we have this weird neutral vote.
Do you guys,
with Mod, we don't have all the evidence. Well,
so this might
right
be
in front of us.
So this might be a lightning topic. Do you guys want to change that voting scheme for next time? So it'll be 80%.
If we did 80%, then nobody would have gotten it today.
Yeah,
that's true, but I maybe don't think about it too hard, because that's what I proposed in the original process. I mean,
I like the idea. I like the idea of 2/3. It allows for still some level of dissenting opinion, but still commands a huge, still requires a lot of support.
Yeah.
So I was saying to get rid of neutrals. I don't really think we should, because like there are some points where I'm like, especially today, there are some times where you're not really against a candidate or for them.
Right.
And it's hard to actually express that.
If you don't actually know a candidate that well,
right,
you don't want to disadvantage them just because, like, if I'll be honest, maybe if we have it 2/3 of two, I think it's just suggesting 2/3 of non-neutral votes. So in this situation,
don't count the neutrals in the vote.
Yes.
Yeah, I do agree with Kitty though. Like, don't count the neutrals in the vote. And the 2/3.
The only problem with
just an abstain.
Only problem with that is that we've had an issue in the past where if we've had it where basically someone's voted with only 3-4 votes and 7 neutral votes, which I think is a problem.
Yeah, you're not getting a concise expressing of staff of of confidence in a candidate.
Yeah, no, it should be a 2/3 for of all the staff present. Don't get rid of the neutral votes. That's we have the other option is to get rid of neutral votes completely. Like, I think we at some point before we did just have for and against only.
Did we introduce that this GSM?
That's what the
I don't remember.
I thought we.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't remember when we said that we were allowing neutrals again. I mean, we've pretty much always.
it sort of just
For-
happened.
if-
I don't know when it happened.
Well, yeah, because like when I did the ballot, I didn't even have a neutral column. It was just yes, no, and abstain. So,
Yeah.
for the absentees. So,
No, I thought we weren't allowed neutrals until I saw somebody else do it with GSM. So
well,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yes, neutral is different from abstain. Abstain is basically like you think like you have a conflict with like your
Right.
relation to that candidate versus neutral where you're not really sure.
Right.
Do you want to make an explicit rule against? Sorry, an explicit definition then?
Well, no, it just means that just for December that I just have to add a neutral vote to that column or to that ballot. So
what are we deciding then? So
I think we're leaning towards 2/3.
2/3. We're allowing neutral votes.
I think so.
And,
That's what I just clarified, Captain Obi.
And neutral
Do we want to
votes.
say?
Oh, sorry.
Do you want to say neutral votes count as half of a 4 vote?
No, don't make it complicated.
No.
No. You need 2/3 4 votes. I think that's
Okay.
fair. Like you need to. It's still because remember the old way ensures that it is a 50% majority, but it does allow people, if there are enough no votes, then we don't promote them. With a 2/3, I think you'll get somewhat the same sort of effect. You just need a little bit more than 4 votes, but no votes aren't gonna like completely scuttle a promotion.
Right.
Right. So,
Yeah, I think if we just say 2/3 vote, that also just makes it simple because like the whole 50% majority plus no more than 2 votes, like that feels weird and slightly more complicated.
But I just base it on how we've done it before. So yeah.
No, and that makes sense. But I just think it's probably that if we just express it as 2/3, then that probably makes sense.
Okay.
Okay. Cool. Well, congratulations to Dalt and Kyle, and welcome aboard. We'll take care of all the ranks have been applied in game and in Discord. We'll take care of all the procedural stuff and the paperwork and mailing us and whatnot later.
Okay, sorry, I'm slow. What are we doing with the nomination process? I think I blanked out.
For voting?
Yes.
2/3.
We're saying 2/3 majority needs to be 4.
Yeah. So
Okay,
in this
and
case,
are we counting neutrals in that equation or not?
Yes. They're counted
It's
just like
2/3 of all the votes.
Okay.
you need a
Alright.
2/3 of staff there need to vote for. On so just
That's
add
upping the
also
bar.
onto that premier is still at 80%. So do we want, as Yoshi brought up, do we want to align that?
I think
with 2/3?
I think it's fine in this case because if you think about it, there is if you do 2/3 with a 4 neutral against, you do have a more chance to go no because if you vote neutral, in a sense, in essence, it is voting no. So I think it's
Yeah,
I think it's fine
okay.
because you have a higher chance of getting.
Yeah, I'm
Understood.
fine with it because of the fact that we don't allow neutrals.
I hate
And
democracy.
because like
I hate
and because like with Premier it's more objective and it's not about a person. So anyway.
5A?
Speaking of voting and about premiers, that was a really good transition. Gods, you want to make premiers public.
Yeah, so I think, well, the fact we have done it with staff already, there's no reason we can't do it with premiers. So, yeah, that's about it.
yeah, I'm
Agreed. Yeah,
in favour.
I don't know why I wasn't public already. So yeah, in favor.
Bring a caveat here.
Oh no.
What about if the person is, and this might also be related to moderator stuff, if the person is there during the meeting, are they allowed to make comments or respond to questions from us about the city?
I would say no.
The way that we've handled it in the past, if a staff member is up for premier, is that they just mute themselves.
Okay, that's fine. But but since
leave.
it's public, members are going to watch us vote. So, I mean,
Yeah, I see where you're getting at. Like people could just say, yeah, people could just say, oh, you should check out this, or oh, you didn't check out Y and Z. He would have gotten Premiere if this was the case.
Yeah.
And as Obi says, if we do start allowing that, then it disadvantages those who aren't awake during normal GSM time.
Correct.
Yeah.
I'm worried about whenever people like an outcry. For example, I'll bring it whenever I was first like promoted and I voted against Vince Ceslo for Premiere. There was like a buffer of time. If it's like then, I'm more worried about the context of the conversations we're going to have in Premiere voting if we bring it to public.
Yeah, this is why I'm not so like. I get it. I get this seems like a good idea, but now I'm thinking about it. We do all the feedback we provide is eventually public. Like we do post the document and people can read it afterward. It's just I'm worried about when we're having the conversation. There's potential for outside influence, right? Just by people, not just the candidate, but other people just saying things.
I will say though, like I mean,
Is that another case for staff as well?
Staff is a little different because I think a lot of the conversations already happened, right? Because we've already had it in the Discord channel. That's already been done, right?
Yeah, most of, I mean, like when we got here, because it's also worth remembering that with a moderator candidate and like the way that we did it today is we took the vote for, like we went straight into a ballot, which I'm guessing that's probably going to be how we're going to do it. And it's meant to involve the community beforehand, let everything kind of settle, and then we take the vote. Premier reviews, the other thing too is you could submit, but then you could be working on it until the last minute. We specifically like go around the town and we don't open the ballot for 5-10 minutes after flying around the town and looking things over. I mean, you might have looked something over in advance, but we generally don't open the ballot immediately like we did with this. So there's a lot more of what security people would call potential for a timing attack. If you are, because with Premier Cities being the first thing on the agenda, that's pretty much what in democracy is called times, or in school board meetings at least, there's something that's called a time certain thing. So it's like exactly when we're going to be doing it. So.
What do you mean by a time vulnerable attack? Like people just suddenly start bombarding the server with like hundreds of alts, or?
No, I just mean timing attack just means like if you're like, say Monty Isola was up for Premier, but you weren't staff. You know that at precisely 7 p.m. UTC, that if you're first on the agenda, that we're going to go there at 7 p.m. UTC and start looking.
So I can start showing you around.
Yes.
Okay, for you, Monte Isola is never going to be up for Premiere at the rate I'm building it.
I'm reading some comments in Meeting Live. Some people are concurring. Like, doesn't seem like public doesn't have a say in Premier Cities, so they shouldn't be able to influence it, right?
Yeah.
I can see the benefit of what God's proposing here. It at least allow people to see how we vote in terms of transparency, but yeah.
What if we were to make a very slight change? I know we are currently the status is that the Premier review stuff or whatever it does go public eventually. But what if we could make it public during GSM? Like instead of just saying, "Oh yeah, this Oparia is Premier," we just say, "Here's the ballot and how we voted in Oparia." So it would need.
Whenever we release it, it's up to how fast we get it done.
Yeah, it's basically just how quickly do we move the document to the right folder. Like I think that's something that we could do pretty quickly. So.
Yeah, and I mean, if we just go publicly over why we voted for it and just public.
I don't want to spend a whole lot of. Yeah, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time discussing it because like the comments go in the ballot. I'd rather I kind of like the dramatic reading and reveal of the results and let the candidate give their speech. But yeah, I mean, I'm the only change that I would make is just say if we're able to move the document over while like we're talking through the other announcements, let's do that. Otherwise, I see no pressing need for a change.
Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna probably switch my vote from for to against. I there are some valid concerns with this, and as much as I tend to be for openness of this sort of stuff, there is some potential for shenanigans.
Yeah, I'm all for the concept. Like this is something that it makes like intuitive sense. I just think that procedurally, there's a lot of ways that it could go wrong.
Obi, for fuck's sake, stop fishing me.
Gods, what do you think about that?
Yeah, it makes sense. I'm happy to stay as a private given those concerns.
Cool.
Cool.
Right. No changes. 5B is pronoun roles in Discord. Yes.
Yeah. I will say something here. In terms of with me, at uni, there is a werewolf society, and for the past since this proposal has gone out, we've been using the pronoun roles in that, and it's just not there. It's worked out perfectly fine, no issues there whatsoever. So,
yeah, my main thought is it's an opt-in thing. If you want to display them on your profile, go for it. If you don't want to do that, that's also fine. Also, we're not gonna like color your names any differently. So it's, I just in order to, because like, you're like we'd have to pick the colors and like staff colors have to override and it'd be a mess. So just in terms of equity, I just say no. Let's just make them opt-in roles if you want.
Yeah, it'll be just probably one same color, probably just a gray or something. Like
probably just the default.
Yeah,
fair.
I have seen some arguments from some others saying that why do we need these pronouns to just say them in conversation? My argument against that is having to have that conversation. It does sometimes get a little uncomfortable for some people. It also does interrupt the conversation when you have to correct someone like that. So
and it gets repetitive.
And it can be a little bit overwhelming as well.
So, I've set up Discord. I've rearranged the roles to allow this to happen. If it's going to be a totally optional thing, then and it's not going to clutter the roles that much. It's just so.
I mean, I'm still the camp that I don't personally say it's necessarily. But at the same time, I don't see the harm in this. Like it is an entirely optional opt-in thing.
Well, the thing is, if you go on Twitter, pretty much well, I'm not going to say everyone, but a good majority, not a good percentage of people on Twitter have them in the bio, because if you're going to be talking to or about someone, it's a nice to know.
It's a nice to know, but it's the thing is that it's being put up non-intrusively, and like it's on you as the the person tweeting or posting on your Instagram. If you want to put that in there, it's up to you, but there's no requirement. Like we're not requiring these.
Yeah.
I think.
And again, it's if you want to put them on your profile, let's offer that option.
Yeah.
Question.
I'm with it.
So I saw, what was it? I think it was AP mentioned. Like, honestly, this is not my area of expertise. I don't tend to focus on this stuff IRL, but there was the case of like other genders, I think, like,
of neopronouns.
Yeah,
have you read
that's what they're called.
Read the proposal? Have you read the proposal, Volp? Because Kyle and Cody did go through those.
Okay, sorry, it's been a while.
Yeah. So the proposal is probably just going to go with the he, him, she, her, they, them. Those are the most standard. There's a whole bunch of other ones, but I think those ones are so.
I would not be in favor of including the other.
Hold on. So they're so uncommon that they're not going to be added now. Maybe in a special case if someone were to identify with those, but I don't think it'll happen anytime soon. I guess we'll deal with it if that does happen. So,
what in the case, potential abuse? Like somebody goes, "Oh yes, I get my own pronouns," and they just come up with something that
we should. I don't think we should assume malice. To be honest,
that's also why I think we should say if you think this applies to you, contact the admins.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
and because like the admins are the ones who actually are the only ones who actually can define the roles. So, like, if you strongly identify with something outside of the most common 3 sets, contact the admins if you want something. The other thing too, or if you need something rather, then let us know. The other thing too is that because these are roles, you can attach multiple to yourself. So if you use multiple sets, you are welcome to attach multiple roles to yourself simultaneously.
Yeah.
Yep.
This
Cody's
so
bringing
will
up
be
a
handled
good
by
point about
Taco Bot, right?
Cody, just to answer. So that's where because they're roles, you can attach as many as you can attach whichever ones you want. So if you use both he, him, and they, them, you will be able to attach both sets.
Yeah.
Yep. And to be clear, you can use a self-assigned roles channel to add the role, just like beta open TD, or archived. It'll just work the same way. So.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
And
I'd say.
And with just one of the things as well with the roles that we have with the roles that with using the roles in the werewolf server, we've used just normal default grey. I mean, granted, that don't think that matters as much, seeing as everybody has a role in this server.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So I think
Cool.
just
Sounds like a 4.
the colour's just arbitrary.
Yeah,
I think
we're
that's
not.
settled.
We're just gonna keep all these roles the same color. We're not gonna put any preference on over each of them.
Okay, that is settled. 5C. So Kyle is proposing adjusting the governor build count recommendation on the website up to 80. There was a lot of discussion about this. And so my viewpoint is that this is fine because I don't count anyway. And looking at the data of what has been submitted and how what has actually gotten through versus what's needed multiple attempts to get through, I feel like bumping that up to like a 75 or 80 it is much closer aligned with how I tend to actually vote.
Okay.
My worry though is that creates a feedback loop. Is that if we do up it because that's to meet the staff standards, then surely our standards might end up going up.
Before this conversation goes a little off, my opinion is, well, I think first we need to talk about what is the standard that staff have been doing, regardless of what the ranks page says. Like, what are your guys' or folks' criteria when it comes to these? Like, Chief has just said he doesn't look at build count. What about the rest of you? Because we need to.
Well, sorry, to be specific, I don't like count them and be like, did they hit 80? What I do still consider the build count, but it's more of like, does it feel like a small city or a big city versus a large town? Which again, it's a fuzzy line and it's gonna vary quite a bit based on a lot of things like terrain and build style and all that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. So it's it's if a town clearly is short on builds, I'm going to notice. But it's also a thing of once you get above a certain number, it just becomes a lot to keep track of. Did I count that one already? And like, is this one of the weird ones where like we don't count it because it's a duplicate of something that's 500 blocks over there?
So going back to my question, I think this is a more of we need to talk about, is this a case where our expectations are not aligned with what is written down?
One of the things I remember when Kyle was thinking of putting his proposal up, one of the issues that he also wanted to talk was kind of the inconsistency on the grading, and this is kind of to do that. If you look at the examples he cited, Opari with the governor with 100 buildings got a 7 on scale, and then I got 7.8 in scale. And if we look at actually Anther Island, which definitely has less than 100 buildings, it actually got a 7.5. And I believe it is smaller than Oparia, which got a 7. So it's one of those things where I think the main issue also is to be consistent in the voting, because I feel like, especially on the scale aspect, people are wildly inconsistent on what they vote.
Scale includes build factor.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying
but it also includes other things.
Yeah, but I'm saying the overall, I think, issue that I think Kyle's trying to tell you is there is kind of an inconsistency, and he's trying to set at least so there is at least some standard that we should have in mind, because I at least have seen this issue where there are some inconsistent rulings, especially on scales of biggest.
But personally speaking, when it comes to, I mean, any town review, whether it be premier or councillor, I don't really focus on build count whatsoever. It's just kind of a general, if it feels like it. I think even upping it, personally, from my perspective, won't change much. But I can understand why, though, because it does encourage bigger cities, and bigger cities are more likely to get governor. Did I make any sense by saying that?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I will count at council and mayor just because those are small enough numbers and it's easy to keep track of everything. Or like there are some towns, like if clearly you've been working at it for a while and you're well above 20, like you can tell as soon as you get there, it's like, this is going to be way over, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, it's at the city ranks that it becomes a lot. And again, that's when you get into the nuance of, well, what counts as a building towards your 80 or 60 or whatever number we're talking about. So, and I'm like, well, it depends. So, and I think that's also why it's, yeah. So that's also why it's like, this feels weird because we don't, like, I don't want to base a city's promotion on how many buildings do you have, because there's a lot of additional things that go into it. But a lot of you guys, the members, a lot of you guys want an objective yardstick to determine if you're ready. So we kind of have to work around that.
Yeah, it's a very vague yardstick, just especially as you get larger, though. So
well, but if we say, oh, it should be a large city, you know, back before we defined it, like, you know, when we were defining the rank structure for the first time back in 2014, you know, like people were like, well, what do you mean a large city? And like people were like, we want a number. And just because if you're building a town, it's really easy to use a number, but if you're using vague metrics, then it's going to be, you know, almost impossible for you to feel confident when you're submitting.
Okay.
So that's why I'm like, it's a struggle to figure out where the right balance of that is.
Okay.
And so that's why I viewed the suggested build count as, you know, it's a really rough guide to try and work around it, even though like I know I'm not going to count them. Does it feel like it? Like large city is more a thing of like, if I just teleport into a random thing here, can I like wander around and get lost? Is one of the like super subjective things that, and again, like get lost and then like, you know, find my way out rather than get lost because of some massive spaghetti roads. But you know, it's really subjective stuff to try and think about with some of these. With some of them, like interior build quality is like, are they furnished? That's pretty easy. But scale is a tricky one.
Yeah.
Also because again, there's, you know, you're going to have high density and lower density. You're going to have, you know, super tall buildings that are all crammed right next to each other. And then you're going to have, you know, space in between buildings. There's all sorts of different ways you can achieve scale, and like footprint, you know, total town footprint and total town height are things that factor in, but you know, again, they're not going to be applied evenly.
So just to get this going, like what do we do here is the question. Because Kyle is proposing it set to 80. I'm looking in meeting live, and there's a variety of opinions. Like some are saying it shouldn't be increased. Some are saying there shouldn't be a yardstick. I'm also going to bring up a concern. Like the reason why we went with 40 for senator, 60 for governor, and 100 per premier is to provide some level of, I guess, scaling. Like it's progression, right? So if you are changing governor to 80 and leaving premier with 100, the progression gets a little weird. Like, do you need to also change premier's limit as well? Though you could argue that epic criteria throws that out a little bit. So
yeah, I can look at how this split, but in the absentee votes, one vote was yes, increase governor but leave premier as it is. And I did actually put an option in there that said yes, increase governor and premier needs to change too. So that one did get a vote.
The more I think about it, the more I'm wondering if there's really any point to this beyond, like, would this yardstick actually change anything?
I mean, I think it's also worth remembering that the scores, the numbered scores, are meant to inform the decision of whoever's putting the vote, but it's the final for or against that decides if you get the rank. So, like, unless, like, I mean, the only real rule, so to speak, that we have on translating from scores to votes is if you have a category that's 3 or lower, that should be an automatic no. And if you have, multiple categories that are like below 5 or, 5 or lower, then that should be a no. But other than that, like, there's no minimum like total score or average score that you need to get a certain rank. There's intangible factors in there, which is what the comments box is for.
Just to respond to Otto and OB and Needon, what we're discussing is not moving. This is the wording on the website, but from what it sounds like is, but based on what Kyle has said, it sounds like how staff are actually evaluating sounds like it's actually higher than 60 already. So what he's proposing is aligning what is written on the website to that. That's why I asked before, so it becomes a question, is our criteria of having a higher standard, is that too high? Like, should that be lowered? Or what? Like,
my gut feeling is that I'm not worried about it because, again, I know that I personally don't count the builds. I know, Volp, you said you generally kind of don't.
Yeah, I look for more how it feels more than builds. Like, with Isola, like, technically raw count wise, the builds are, by my metrics, well over into the hundreds, but I wouldn't count that as governor. It's just not big enough. The buildings are too small.
I mean, I think the thing is that I think all of us, and we've all said this, is that these numbers are not, and probably will never be, hard numbers. They are guidelines. And this proposal is not saying that this proposal is not saying we have to follow this hard guideline. It's saying we put this as a recommendation on the website to reflect kind of how more recent governor cities have promoted around this number.
Yep.
And if we're thinking about it in that light, then that makes total sense. Of most of the cities that have been successful have been closer to the 80 end.
Sorry, I'm just going to respond again to Otto. Like, they're saying that by increasing this number, it's demotivating. I understand where you guys are coming from, but wouldn't it be more demotivating if we kept this number, but then when staff actually evaluate a governor town, it gets rejected because their standards don't match what's written on the website? Like, the point of this is to align them together. Like, we need just to better match what staff are actually evaluating.
Just to counterpoint to Chief, with most of the cities getting, having 80 builds or over and getting it, I think that's just a case of if you fly over the expectations that are written over, you're more likely to get it. Like, if you're submitting for senator with a governor level city, you're more likely to get it than a senator city submitting for senator's level city. Does that make sense? I'm not good at
overshooting is going to be a thing regardless. I mean, again, that's, I think,
I'm just saying that explains why.
So I think what we say on the website right now does not align with how we act.
Yeah.
And so this is fixing that by adjusting what we say on the website. If we do nothing different in terms of like how we vote on towns, then I think that this will just make it a slightly more accurate experience for everybody. I mean, again, when I was talking with people in the forum channel a while back about this, I'm like, when I get picked to vote on a town, I don't go look at the website and remind myself of what the rules are. So,
yeah,
how? Okay, two things. One, there is also the option of lowering our standards. I don't think we've talked about it, but it sounds like that's probably not happening. I just want to put it out there. The second thing is
That's going to be harder to do.
yes. The second thing is we could just go. What about just cutting the middle? We'll go 70 instead of 80. Like, is it 80? Is it really that high, or is it something a bit more, maybe a bit more reasonable?
It breaks the pattern. It's like 10, 20, 60, 80.
Not really.
100, right?
No,
Well,
I think it'll still be okay
Premium
because
we'll get to in a second.
Because the jump from it's 40 to 70, it's just 30, like a difference of 30, and then it's another 30 to Premier. It's not too bad. Like if it's 80, I think it gets a little weird because the difference between Governor and Premier is it's only 20 buildings, which is a little small in my opinion. So
right in the middle. Yeah, I'd be in favor of. I take back my inconsistent numbering thing. Actually, 70 is right between 40 and 100, and that makes me very happy. I'd be in favor of 70. Yeah.
Okay.
70.
Okay.
Again, I feel like some people are misunderstanding what there's the actual way staff are evaluating towns, and it sounds
That's
like
not changing.
It's not changing, but it sounds like people think that by changing the wording on this, where all of us are going to be more strict. That's not what we're saying. We're saying that it's more. It actually matches reality. That's the best way I can put it. It matches the reality of how we evaluate towns.
I personally have a feeling that the bar is always going to continue slowly raising as you see more and more cities. You need a bit more to get impressed, and thus the bar will continue to go up. Like compare early premier cities to cities like Oparia.
Yeah, they're asking. Some people were saying, "Is Gov too hard now?" I don't really think it's
No,
too hard. I think we're the same standard as we've always done.
It's meant to take a little while, but still be very achievable. Premier is the one that is intended to be a lot more limited.
Yeah, I definitely think there are I've had discussion with Yoshi before. There are definitely some towns where could never go for Premier just based on the epic scale, but are solid governor towns.
Yeah. So, oops. Okay. So it sounds like we're going to raise the website wording to 70.
Yeah, that seems to be what we've agreed on.
And then, staff just do our best to just keep reviewing towns the way that we have been lately, which I think is completely reasonable.
I'm gonna get a new cup of tea. So if you folks on the 5D without me,
Governor is meant to be a challenge and an achievement. It's not meant to be a walk in the park. So
I know people want their big airports, but
people want their airports. But if we make it a really good reward, then
they'll work.
That should be pretty good motivation. Oh God, 5D.
Yeah, I need a tea break. I'm at a tea. I'm totally not using this as an excuse. See ya.
You picked a really good time to yeet yourself from this conversation, Volpe.
To be honest, I read this and I think I voted on the absentees. If you want to use that as my de facto.
No, this one there was. This one.
Oh, sorry, no, I voted on the survey. I voted. I would personally, I'd be in favor of minimal changes like. Clearly, unfinished buildings could go. I'd want some of the somewhat finished ones to be finished.
Hold on. Just back up a bit. Just so you know, just so everyone knows and is on the same page, Wipeout has updated his proposal to reflect the feedback that was given from the survey question. So if you haven't read it yet, please do so now.
And then Kitty also submitted a counter proposal.
In response to Webb's proposal, I think I agree with Kitty's kind of proposal because, like I said in the forum channel, there is still no distinction for buildings that I think obviously would stay but are not complete, but would rather just need to be furnished or completed, that would not be torn down. Because right now it seems like it's either it'll stay if it's done, and if they're still not complete, and it says that red labels will be removed, which is just any building that's not complete. So I'm still not here, and I think a lot of people are not here for a majority removal of a bunch of buildings.
Yeah, I'm very much for. I think I agree there. I'm very much for having people renovate rather than demolition. And yeah, I do agree still with merging plots, but
just so I'm clear, this position is, it means that no buildings can be considered to be removed at all.
Which one are you looking up?
Well, just I mean, I guess the position of the majority. Like, what's is this? Is it more like we can complete buildings? It's okay. We all can complete buildings, but are we even allowing the possibility of some really, like, what if it's a really incomplete building? Like, I think Kitty mentioned.
I think that's.
Yeah.
I think that's
Like if it's got like structural holes and stuff, then I think it's fine to remove. If the only thing that's complete is like furniture, then it still counts as a complete build and just needs to be filled.
it'll
Propose.
Take a lot of work, but I do think maybe a reorganisation of the city's in order. And yes, it will take a lot of work, but some kind of moving similar builds together, moving like with like.
We talked about this actually during a little mumble discussion a few days ago, which is that it's kind of unrealistic and honestly kind of not possible to move a bunch of buildings to kind of make districts in a way, simply because all of the plots in Central City are different sizes. And buildings that take up the whole plot cannot just be moved to other plots because they're all different sizes.
But okay, yeah, that's fair.
I would also argue in the sense of in regards to like a revitalization. I want to point out the sake of Armada. Whenever Armada got upended, no one wanted to work on that. So I'm kind of more curious on. I doubt people will be like on the staff wise. I don't think there will be. I'm more worried about the buy-in of staff to actually do that scale up project.
Armada was a private town, though.
Still, though,
staff volunteers. No one volunteered except me to actually.
Yeah, no.
The scope of work is similar.
Yes, that's my point.
That's fair.
Well, based on that, are there any staff right now who would be interested in heading this project? Because I feel like if you had someone spearheading it, then that would make things work a lot easier. But right now, this is just simply all we have right now is Wipeout proposing this. He's not staff. Kitty's proposed a counter proposal. He's not staff either. So
Wipeout and Gods did it together. That was
okay.
They did the original proposal together.
Gods, are you that person? Is he here?
I'm here. Sorry, I have been trying to multitask at the moment. What was the question?
I'm asking, since you're the one who proposed this with Wipeout, are you the person who's going to be leading most of the changes or doing most of the work when it comes whatever's decided?
If it was just smaller scale, identifying what needs to be removed, what needs to be what needs to be upgraded, then yes. If the scope was changed and it was a full reorganization, then I wouldn't have the time to dedicate to that.
I might. I think I would be willing to spearhead some of it. Making. Okay, I get the point that I get the argument that it's not realistic to completely move everything. But I mean, maybe from this point onwards, marking districts or marking like this area, we encourage residential development in this area. We encourage commercial in this area.
But there's not many plots left at all, so we can't really do that.
And my argument is also people don't really build in Central City to build in Central City anymore. Like I don't really see it nowadays where people want to build there.
Well, but is that the lack of plots though? Because if there was empty plots, because there's basically none.
I think regardless of whether or not, because I mean, I think that's irrelevant whether or not the people really want to build. Because maybe a new member does want to build. I've seen it from time to time, but I think that while I agree with of course moving some builds, there's maybe one build, a building that takes a tenth of a plot, we can move that into another plot. I think that makes sense. It's fine, but I really think we should focus more on the idea of only removing buildings that are very incomplete by inactive members, or maybe costs have been held for like years now that are not really complete, even if they are by active members, versus kind of focusing rather on the removal of any building that's nearly incomplete.
No, to be clear, I am not. To be clear, I'm not in support of anything which is significantly constructed. I'm not in support of demolition of that. That's that.
I think that's
However-
what we're saying. I think it's like if it's very clearly incomplete, like from an exterior structural perspective, like if you'd have OSHA complaints against a building by looking at it from the outside, then that's a problem. And then we can look at like, okay, is this member active and what are they doing with it and all that, and then get rid of it. If it's something that like the building is done, but it just needs some TLC on the inside, then it should stay, but just get a little bit of attention.
I didn't really look into the debate so much, but for the gist I got was there seemed to be tremendous amounts of disagreement of the categorization of which builds fall into what.
Well, that's completely changed now.
Right.
Yeah, like I guess my question is who determines, like, Wipeout's I think submitted some maps showing what he thinks should be kept and not, and then there's been disagreement about that. Like, should it be left to Wipeout? Should it be staff who should be doing it? Like, I'm more asking like what's the process of determining this, and maybe based on Kitty's categorization, because I think he had something similar too.
I mean, Central City is a staff city, so I think in the end, the final word is going to be down to us. But I definitely do agree we need to have some sort of standard. I was trying to read up on Kitty's side. I know I disagreed heavily with Wipeout's categorizations, but I was trying to get through Kitty's, because some of them I did agree with in regards to Kitty's.
Perhaps as well, are people discouraged by building in CC because of how big the plots are, frankly? Like, if you are just starting out and you want somewhere to build a small home, there's nowhere in Central City to do that.
Central City's not for homes. It's made for
it's
or a business.
But
it's
also,
it's restricted to citizens and up though, so it's not that basic home hall.
You can't.
Yeah, I mean, also there are people who still build tiny things in big plots. So I mean, it's not gonna. I don't think people are discouraged by the size of the plot. To be honest with you.
There is no incentive for people to build in this Central City. I think that's part of it. Like, why would you build in there when you just
because
build
it's
the central city.
This is also why I was pro the more drastic improve, like redoing everything, because it would give people the chance to like. Because let's be honest, the plots that are available still in Central City are so out of the way that not many people would actually see any new builds. So the reason I was more supporting a more drastic measure was to allow the newer community to pretty much start from scratch and influence the whole city, including the more prevalent plots right outside of the spawn points.
The point I was trying to make was based on I'm thinking about it from an incentive point of view. Based on the ranks, there's no incentive for people to work on anything on Central City because they'll be working on their towns because they want to rank up. I think that's the main motivation. Basically my point is there's no. I'm trying to explain AP's point. Like, I think there's no. We're not giving any benefit for people building in there other than in a central location, and usually you just build something like a warp hub or something or something like that.
I'm back, and you do actually bring up a pretty valid point there. I think. Why not encourage some kind of contest or so? Like, actually have an incentive money-wise to build in Central City. Like,
I think there was talk about that. Yeah.
I mean, one of those. I mean, the thing with Central City also is I think a lot of people build there because it is in a way kind of treated as the capital of the new world, and I don't know if we. To be honest, I don't know if we really need any incentive to build there. If people want to build there, they can build there. Just the fact that if you do the contest, and we're talking about and one of the arguments is future people might want to build in Central City, the contests would probably take up a lot of spots for people who would be more enthusiastic to build about it in the future.
I would also be worried about incomplete builds that come out of that said contest, as we've seen on
Well,
the hotel competition and other
But,
building competitions.
If they are incomplete, we could remove them.
But that is what this whole topic is about.
Yeah,
Which I think we are
argument.
We are straying a bit from the main issue, which is what are we gonna do essentially? Because there is two proposals right now essentially.
Sorry. Okay, we'll go back to the main. I just want to respond to Kitty. Kitty, that's you. You may not want to go for ranks, but I know there are quite a few other players who just focus on the ranks. So just putting that out there. Anyway, so what are we doing? Like, are we going with Kitty's proposal or are we going with Wipeout's proposal? I'm not sure what's going
on. I mean, I definitely am. I will say I'm currently not in favor with the current version of Swipe's proposal simply because it leaves out the marking of partially incomplete buildings and what happens with those. I at least know that for now, for sure. I don't know how everyone else feels about it. Hello?
I as I wasn't participating in this discussion, I don't feel confident enough to vote.
There's some calls for deferring this topic based on lack. Maybe there needs to be more discussion about it, or a more concrete proposal. I mean, it's fine. We don't have to decide now.
Perhaps and again, this might go as another proposal for when it's deferred. Perhaps we do more on. Maybe we designate a plot for a community build. We designate plots for community builds, like we did with the Christmas market a few years ago. Heck, we could even make a Christmas market.
I mean, I think I do want to clarify again. I think we are straying a bit. The main issue isn't the topic we're talking about isn't about necessarily incentivizing people. It's about how many plots should we clear, and what standards should we use to define what plots should be cleared or what should not be cleared. That's, I think, the main issue that we don't have a solution to, that we keep kind of going off track on.
Here's what I would love to see in terms of an intermediate step. I would love to see someone, and this could be a staff member, this could be somebody else, just make an inventory of everything that is in Central City right now. And not necessarily to decide what we want to do with it right this second, but just so that we at least know what's there and can figure out what the status of everything is. Because I think that we've got a lot of weird edge cases that we're talking about at once and trying to lump too much together. So I think that the incremental step is let's inventory it and get a status on the stuff in Central City. And then come back to this in December.
I agree with that.
I can get on that in the meanwhile. I'll make a spreadsheet. I'll make a spreadsheet in planning.
AP, if you need any help with tallying and counting things, I can try to help you there.
Yeah, so I think the main thing that we want to figure out is for every single building in the Central City, where is it? Who owns it? What does it do? And what's its status?
Okay.
I think those are the main things that we wanted to know about. And again, like for what does it do? That's like corporate tower or the AdMod building or something like that. Like that's all. Those are all relevant to know, as opposed to like here's. And again, it's buildings that I think we're concerned about more so than plots.
Is this technically an unapproved airport?
John G, what do we do with that? So I think based on how that inventory looks, it would hopefully either point to some fairly obvious things that we need to do that we can then vote on in December. So I'm saying that we do nothing to the buildings right now, but that we get back to, we come back to this in December with some actual data.
Yeah, I can imagine, like, This is just information we're collecting information, and then someone else, whether it's a staff member or Wipeout or Kitty again, can make a proposal based on that data. I think that's
Mhm.
Yeah, I think there's two. I think we're trying to lump in too many things, and it's getting complicated. I'm like, I'd rather ground ourselves in the data.
Wipeout has also expressed his interest in assisting with tallying things, so it does appear that there is interest in trying to do.
It does, and this is something that can be just done as a big public Google Doc. So,
yes. So I'm getting east-west reference, north-south reference, maybe building name, building owner.
I think the little nitty-gritty details I think can be sorted out. I think by whoever decides to do it. I don't think we need to set an official thing at the GSM right now.
Yeah. My main thing is that I want to know is identify the building, identify the owner, identify the purpose, identify the status. So if you get those 4 things, I don't care how you do it, but those are the 4 things that we need to make a decision about what we're going to do with it. So AP, if you want to spearhead this, that'd be. You said you wanted to spearhead it, yes?
Yeah. Well, I've already got a spreadsheet going in planning.
Okay, great. So for the public, then work with AP if you want to help with the inventory, and we will circle back to this in December. 5E.
Yes, I agree with it as written. That's a huge violation of privacy.
Well, can I explain my topic first? Okay.
Sure.
So yeah, from the events of October, there was some debate about, and some concern about people being talking in voice chat and having their conversations recorded for perhaps purposes of writing people out or for malicious purposes. So what this rule is to propose that such voice chat conversations you cannot record this without the person's consent. I'm going to just add a little. There was some discussion in the forum, though, with regards to writing a privacy policy for the server, which I haven't gotten around to. But the privacy policy will say something a little different. It will say something along the lines of, you do consent to, when you join voice chat, whether it's Mumble or Discord, you do consent to be recorded by the server administrators, for obvious reasons because we're administrators, but also by any authorized people that are authorized by the administrators. And those people are probably just going to be the people who record events on the server. So like Kitty, Not Short, myself, because I'm recording right now on the GSM, and I've already recorded people's voices right now. I want to put that clause in just because I'm a little either we do this or every recording that's done by, say, like MBS or MBN or myself has to have a disclaimer at the beginning saying that you may be recorded and all that. I feel like that's a little bit maybe overkill. I think if it was just covered by a privacy policy, then
my other thing is that the privacy, like that policy, would cover the instance of what if you joined in the middle of the event and you weren't there at the beginning when they were doing that. So yeah, that needs to be there. Yeah, events, I say events are fine. Yeah. Official server business is fine, but like randomly recording conversations just for the hell of it, get permission first.
To answer Meeden's question, I think it'll be implied. Well, maybe it should be explicit, where basically if someone, I think if someone is publicly intending to, like, they announce it, saying that they're going to record this event, like, MBS is going to record Assassins 2 tomorrow, for example. I think that should be implied. I don't know if Kitty needs to ask for permission explicitly. If you're recording for something private and something that's not announced, you definitely need to ask for permission in that case, because that's not, we don't know, the admins don't know about it. So
Vicky's saying maybe if it's on the event calendar, then it's okay to record.
I don't think it's like that. I don't think it's like that. That's an automatic excuse because like there are some things that go on the event calendar that aren't like events that need to be recorded. But it's like if it's a big event and it's on the events calendar, like I think it should be pretty clear.
Yeah. The important thing is you need to express your intent to record. So if you do it publicly, then I think you can assume that you have permission. Unless, and if you don't, then the admins will step in. I don't think that'll ever happen, but we'll tell you, okay, no, you can't record that for whatever reason. But
also, yeah. Also for like members, keep in mind, y'all aren't lawyers, so like there may need to be a point where Frumple and I just need to just close the conversation here, just because like please try not to get too deep into the hypotheticals. It's more just like from the concept of policy perspective, it makes sense.
Yeah, I hate law. I hate law. I hate. The only lawyer we know of is Alec, and I know as far as I know, Alec's super busy, so I don't know if he'll want to even look at this sort of thing. But and also Chiefs made a point, like it's also based on nations and jurisdictions and stuff. Like
it's like most people here aren't lawyers. This is a thing that we got to do. The rule makes sense of like the simple rule of don't record without consent, except obviously during a big public event. Like if I would say that the yardstick is if you got, if it's an event that was approved at a GSM, then that's fine.
Yeah. Also, just so the wording of the rule does say any voice chat evidence presented to staff or for moderator feedback will be dismissed unless it is particularly egregious or illegal. Now, the definition of what is egregious or illegal, well, definitely egregious part. The illegal part is a little more defined, but I think most people have a pretty good idea of what we mean here. Like, if it's violating some people's laws, or it's violating real world laws, yeah, that should be submitted to us. If it's something that's not quite there yet, quite at that point, like that there is a gray area between. I think you can still submit it to staff. We'll make the determination of whether it's egregious or not. So.
Okay, I think we're set on Kitty changed his like Discord like account name. So
okay.
Anyway, okay.
Yeah,
I think we're good.
Topic myself.
I think this topic's closed. I don't think we need to do anything else with it other than just it's approved. Don't be stupid. Don't record people. And if it's obvious that they're not aware what you're doing, get their permission. Or if in doubt, get their permission.
Okay.
Okay, 5F. Yeah.
5. Well, this one. So just to be clear, I think there's been some confusion. What this is more, and I'm not sure if this should be a staff policy, or should we actually? I was actually thinking maybe it should actually be written in the rules, maybe under disrespect or something. Because I know in other servers there are explicit rules that are totally against, no homophobia, no transphobia, no racist words, and I think that's what we've done. But this does go a little bit further. It does also state that when we select staff, this is what we're like. We're looking for people who are able to enforce the rules without having their personal beliefs get in the way. So I'm not sure if it should be written like this. Maybe it should just be in the rules, and then just to make it very clear. Because then we can argue that if it's in the rules, then when we select staff, we come to determine.
If it falls under most important rule 1. But spelling it out, I think, is helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what I have seen cited by users is there are some things where I'm nervous to speak here, admittedly, but some things where it's unsure of where it would fall on the spectrum. Like, is it racist or anti-racist? Would be stuff like affirmative action. Like, if a staff member endorsed that, would that fall as racist or anti-racist? I'm just gonna shut up now, I think.
No, well, yeah, that's
Right.
one of the things that's hard to figure out where that is. I mean,
A good chunk of it's context.
I think the thing is, even if there are a few edge cases, such as maybe discussion of road action, or whatever it may be, that are the multiple edge cases, I personally don't see a problem with making this official stance, simply because while I think there are edge cases, I don't think it's going to be that much of an issue where we can be leaning, be like, okay, I think this is fine, yada yada. Where we can basically say the extreme stuff, we're not allowing that. I don't see there being a problem with that. Just saying that overall.
If you recall, you remember that topic when we had a few months ago regarding prison camps and Nazi symbology and all that. This is kind of similar to this.
Yep.
I think the best thing to do is have this policy here as an official stance. If a staff member gets into an issue where they don't know what to do, they find a situation where that is in one of those gray areas. The general policy is to consult the other staff to see what should be done, right? And that's what we usually do anyway when it comes to these sort of things. Like we did that when we were looking at the symbology, all that other stuff. So
it's kind of like, in a way, it's I think, like the opponent, it's kind of like the disrespect rule, where like obviously there are going to be cases where people are going to argue, oh, I don't think I was disrespectful, or there's obviously arguable cases on whether someone's being disrespectful or not. It's kind of in the same case where, like, I think we can all agree there are cases where certain things are racist, certain things aren't. But obviously, like the disrespectful, there are edge cases, but it's obviously makes sense to have this there to try to prevent obvious cases of, in this case, racism or sexism or homophobia.
I just pasted, it might be helpful. Echo, this is being put like as a bullet point under most important rule 1 of just like, here's a specific thing that we're calling out. I just pasted in the meeting live channel. There was a lot of arguing about this a while back, but that's because Reddit is weird. Is the link to the Reddit? It's a part of Reddit's content policy, and specifically the bit that's closest to this. So not that we would necessarily follow it word for word, or even if we should follow the model of it, but just as an example of another another platform that is adopting a similar kind of policy. That this is the text that they have for Reddit. So as a potential data point or point of reference. So I think, again, incorporating it as a part of rule 1 makes sense. And for like, this will at least address the extreme cases, not that we've had that many, thankfully. But again, for the edge cases, I think we'll just have to deal with them when they come up. I mean, we're not going to be able to anticipate everything right now.
I actually like the wording of this one, particularly the marginalized and vulnerable groups. I think it's one.
I'm going to have to head out, so I will see you guys later.
See you guys.
See you guys.
I suppose there isn't my own concerns with that as well. It's just I want this. If we are to apply such a thing, I'd want it to be done fairly and with an even hand. Logically, I'd assume that if somebody said "kill all women," we'd punish that because that is nasty. But we'd also do the same for a "kill all men" joke.
Based on what I'm reading from this, Volp, are men a marginalized and vulnerable group?
Depends where and depends how. There are some. Personally speaking, there are some aspects where they say.
I'm talking in general.
In general, no.
No.
Societally, men have way more power in most like the overwhelming majority of cases, and like systemically.
This is not a case of whether it's fair or not. It's a case of like, yeah, like it's.
This is definitely wading into political territory.
I mean, that's what I was saying. What Kitty says kind of the way I feel is context is very important here of what exactly is what exactly is being talked about.
Sure.
I mean,
Right.
I'm going to reference Kyle's nomination channel, Kill him, and like that was the context there is very important.
Yeah, I think again, it's we want to specifically call out that this sort of stuff is not okay, and specifically like the extreme stuff you can instantly spot, no, bad. The stuff that it's like it depends on context, make the context as clear as you can so that we don't have so that like the chance of someone interpreting it as being with malicious intent, like you want to watch out for that.
Yeah, and to Otto's comment about making this political, yes, I am going to make this political because this is the kind of I'm putting this rule in here because that's the kind of server I want to run on here. I'm going to be very upfront with this. I'm not in favor of trying to accommodate. I'm not going to be able to accommodate everybody from this position. Like, there are going to be people who disagree with this position, and if they don't like it, well, that's too bad. So.
It's and I don't know. I'm still going to be concerned, like on the actual. Hard to voice these because I know I have to be really careful when voicing them, and being careful with this sort of stuff isn't my forte.
I think I understand. I think I understand somewhat what you're saying, Otto. I don't know. Like, people can argue. I don't know what is in a marginalized group and all that, and it's hard to determine. Like, is it just someone who just are they arguing in good faith, or are they actually, don't have that belief?
Good faith is hard to judge, though. Like, there are cases where.
Yeah, but also again, this is more setting the expectation.
Is it and also is it worth arguing about? Because if we just keep arguing about it forever and ever, like, I don't want to get into those sort of circles all the time. Like,
yeah, I think this is the concept makes sense, but this is, I think, just a policy that Frumple, you just are going to have to write it in whatever way that I think makes sense for, creating an expectation that you want to be able to uphold. So
I also like Otto's idea here of just what Kitty is technically where it's just instead of just removing marginalized, just say no discrimination against any group. Like that's a pretty blanket uniform.
That I think that's problematic in itself too. Like,
what do you mean problematic in itself?
Because then it doesn't acknowledge the marginalization. Right? It just sort of what defines a group, as Fred said. Like what someone could just make up a definition of a group and then think that it's a bit too that in itself is a bit too open, right?
Yeah, but isn't so how is marginalized groups less open than just group? How does that not suffer the same issue as just groups?
Because it's putting a qualifier on there, and also we don't need to get into the business of specifying with technical specificity of every single thing that's not allowed. This is something that if you're doing it, it should be either fairly obvious or like it's a situation that based on context that we'll need to step in and be like, no, that's not the kind of behavior that we want. I mean, we're getting really into the weeds here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's something like this. It does concern me based on. I don't know. It's in my own position on this. I know some will consider me a bit out there, and others will not.
gonna throw this out. We might have to invoke Rule 3 here. Like,
I think you just need to write it and just
Yeah.
say that this is the rule.
yeah,
Like I think you should do it. I can proof it if you want to just like proof it and make sure that it works with the flow of the rest of the page, whatever. But or just have another set of eyes. But like this needs to come predominantly from you. So
yeah. I echo. I know it's a simple way to do no discrimination, and usually I would be in favor of the simple way of doing things, but I'm not comfortable with just that. Is what I'm saying. So.
I still would like. If we are changing, if we are having a more hardline view on this, I also want to make sure I am enforcing these properly. Thus, I'd also want to see a more concrete definition of, well, anti-racism, anti-sexism, anti.
we
don't know that
can't.
like it.
Well, we can't provide a concrete definition because there's going to be exceptions no matter how you do it.
And that does worry me.
That's how the world works. I think we have to end it there. Like, I'm sorry that it's not that it's not going to provide you the detail that you need. I think it's also going to be a lot of we're going to need to learn and figure it out. I mean, yeah.
I mean, that's why we have it. You're not alone in enforcing the rules, though, Volpe. You definitely like ask staff to make sure.
Yeah, if you're not sure, like escalate it up to an admin or to another mod or whatever. There's
Yeah, we all have
There's
a
a lot
variety.
of resources to help you.
Fair.
We all have a variety of
If-
opinions, and you might be right. Like maybe it's really isn't something that should be enforced, or not based on that case.
Right.
Like it, again, as Kitty said, context matters, and that should be also taken into account. So.
So my own personal issues with the whole thing, but as you're not comfortable with it, I don't think I'm going to have to argue that further.
Yeah, I'd rather just if you're not sure, get a second opinion. But this is something that I think that Frumple just needs to write and set the rule.
Yeah, I know you're trying to go from a politically neutral perspective. I don't care about that at this point. Like, I'm coming from the point of, I want this server to be a safe space for people who are marginalized. I think you can agree that this server has a lot of people who are marginalized by other means. Like, this is their, because in IRL, they don't feel included. So this is where they go to. So I'm sure that that's still here.
Just arguing from that perspective, though, if this place is already a decently safe environment for those groups, like, we do have a massive LGBT population, both amongst the staff members and the general population. Same with things like autism. It does seem like a bit of a haven for that. If we've already managed to establish that without these rules, do we really need them?
Yes.
I'd say that's an argument that yes, we do need them.
Yep.
That's more of an argument.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we want to protect it, and yeah, if we want to protect it by an official policy and rule against it, then like having a rule in place is the strongest form of protection that we can give.
Yeah. I'll write something, and yeah.
Yeah, I think we need to just end the conversation here and move on. And
I don't think I'll be able to vocalize my concerns well enough, and I don't think anybody's going to change their mind here. This is a pretty political topic, so it's.
Oh, don't worry about the auto. We're shutting down in January, so that's fine. Anyway,
okay.
Moving on.
So does that mean I can start nuking things? No consequences, boyo.
No. Okay.
Sasha wants to talk about Discord roles, and then let's get into the quick agenda. God.
I know Kitty has some stuff I'm not sure about, like kind of even the media side. On the events, is it mainly because people don't like the everyone ping?
I think it can be
mute the channel.
Do people still get pings if they mute the channel though?
No. If you mute the channel completely.
See, some people might not want to. I don't think people should have to mute the channel.
Yeah, you get mutes, you get pings and muted channels.
Can we just focus on the events one first? Because the media one was kind of added on after. So just So the events one, is there value in that?
I'd actually have some. I do have some questions about how the events thing would actually work. How would be anybody be able to allow? Sorry, not events. Would anybody be able to ping media, or is that only certain people like MBS and MBN and BNN and CNN and Fox News?
No, it sounds like it just like the pronoun. Well, not the pronoun. The beta server or well, no, that's not a good one either. I guess OpenTD is actually one, because technically anyone don't do this. Technically anyone can ping OpenTD. Don't do it.
Frumple,
yeah.
Why did you just say that?
Why?
Well, if they want to do it, I'm gonna give them a warning. So how about that? But I think Sasha's intent was it's an optional role they sign up for through Talkabot, if I'm understanding this correctly.
So in looking at some of the stuff, it looks like Discord actually has made an update that if you right click on a channel, you can set a channel's notification settings to server default, all messages, only at mentions, and nothing. That's separate from muting the channel.
Okay.
So you can turn off notifications in a specific channel if you want, if you don't want to get notified by the events pings.
Personally speaking, sorry, I did zone up for a second. I do love the idea of the media thing. It does let me keep a. I do like to know when things are going on, even if it's just, oh yeah, there's an earthquake in Titsonsaki, or help, I've lost my cow, $10 if you find it. I'd still want to ping for that.
But that's what the media announcements channel is for.
Yeah, but would those also include pings?
Yeah, was not to stop people from pinging media every single time they put something in media announcements.
Because like by that logic, if you want to get pinged, set your media announcements notification rule to all messages.
Right.
Okay, I'm confused then. What's what's the point of this then? I'm not following something.
Yeah, my opinion is that the roles are not necessary here because you can tune your notification settings to whatever you want. The add everyone ping in announcements and the add everyone ping in event. Like I think that the add everyone pings and announcements are still valuable because for people who haven't turned on all messages, that we do still occasionally have time critical messages. But I think that this can better be handled by teaching everybody how to fine tune your Discord notifications to better match what you want. Because again, I don't know what the use case would be for people pinging these roles, other than potentially if we were to say no, media actually doesn't mean you want to subscribe to those. Media means that you are a media outlet, and so say if you just have to define the rules of don't annoy them. But like if you say like if we had a press conference that we wanted to alert the media for, then we could ping at media to get their attention. But I don't want to do that. I would rather just say if you want notifications for things in media announcements and event announcements, turn those adjust those notification settings on your end.
Yeah, I think he brings a good point. This now that he mentions it, I am concerned about this actually having any use. Prior to us splitting events and media, it probably would have had a niche use, but with that out the window, yeah, it's just configure Discord notifications.
I agree with Chief. So yeah, learn how to Discord, guys.
Yeah, Discord's notification settings are actually really powerful if you take 10 minutes to experiment with them and fine tune them. Like my notification settings for the MRT server are actually really fine tuned, which is great because I can get pinged for important stuff, but not every single message in general when I'm not online. So
yep.
Let's move on.
Okay.
6A.
Let's move on to the fast part. We're almost done. In terms of time. In terms of agenda items, we got a ways. 6A, B97, Neapolitan Highway from Beachview to Fuxenberg. Or I don't know how you pronounce that. Whoever's town that is. Whatever. I'm fine. Wait. That is the wrong ward number. That needs to start with a 2. Ondist, you failed.
Oh, veto.
I mean, the road itself looks alright. Could just ask. We're gonna can improve it. Pending result. Approve.
Pending.
Approve and just ask for. Approve and ask for correct number.
Move it to, if it's in 2, then B27 now.
Is B27 available, road nerds? Okay. Renumbered to B.
Yes, it's available.
Okay, renumbered B27 approved. B845 from Rodonia to Birchwood. Is that the right ward number?
Birchwood's in the northwest.
I think it is.
So then
It's near
okay.
Whitechapel, so.
Yeah, Whitechapel's 8, so.
Yeah, simple, straightforward. No, the simple, straightforward road.
5 ME.
Timek has been away for 1 year, 1 month, so it is. Yeah.
Yep. Okay, cool. Good to go. Approved going once, twice.
And sold.
A12.
Cody needed a bypass. I asked him. He was mainly curious about that, so it's bypass more or less. He already has the
How
permits to
long?
build the road.
How long's this one been inactive for?
I checked this one. I don't think there were block logs on it, so we don't know. It sounds like this was, from what I understand, John Owl 654 bought this building, like copied it from Frosty. Like it's something you can buy.
I did see that, and I'm personally just there. I can disagree that even counts as a significant development. It's just a copy-pasted building with nothing else.
Fun to prove.
I disagreed with that, so that's why I asked to be a town back. So
yeah,
it's an old building either way, significant development or not. I approve the bypass.
I'm fine with this.
Nice job, AP.
No, that was deliberate.
That's for
What?
Kyle.
Oh, you were telling Kyle. I thought you'd fucked up.
No, AP's been on managed systems. Okay, 6D.
revealing mods, guys. Come on.
Can we get done with this? Oh god, I need to get into the Google Apps console and start
I'm
adding.
sorry about that one. I was very confused.
You're fine. Okay, B53.
Hi,
Cece,
guys.
what do you want? What do you want?
Give me road.
No, denied.
Have road.
I'm building more roads, guys. I'm getting buses finally down to the south. Whoa.
Where does this one go? You didn't.
I said, but there's even a route.
The heading doesn't. The heading doesn't say, and I'm lazy.
Well, that's your fault. Did you put the heading in?
No.
I did.
Okay, that's just Cece's fault.
Okay.
This is fine.
It's a short road. It's leading.
It's a short road. It goes to Redwood. Protocol's on this, so we already know he's fine with it.
Yes, protocols help me with the building. Building style will be your protocols. He and I are working on it together.
Honestly, I'd love to see this. Protocol has wonderful terraforming abilities, and seeing an entire road up built to his standards.
Oh yes, he has signed himself up for it.
Wow. Okay.
This will be fun. This will be fine. Approved.
You've already actually terraformed nearby area. Like, ooh, look at these trees. These are nice trees.
Volpe wants that road porn.
Okay, 6E has been removed. It's no longer needed. 7A.
Taco burrito-a-thon.
Approved. Jesus. When has a taco burrito-a-thon never been rejected? Like, come on.
Approved. Yeah, that's fine. Arctic line.
Hi guys, back again. So basically, we've only had one application that was due for A33 across A92.
Approved.
Yeah, that's about it. My only point is there's not many
Approved.
people
Josh, questions.
that want MRT lines anymore.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that is worth talking, or at least being aware of for staff considering building lines.
Are just so I haven't been following. Are there any active construction or line constructions happening right now?
Western line south that I'm still working on slowly, but like the
Western
stations
north.
are in. I just got to do tracks and
yeah,
stuff.
Vicky, how are you doing with Western
doing-
North? Just a curiosity. Work in
With
progress.
as well.
Okay. All right.
I've still got my Eastern. I work slowly, very, very slowly.
The only things I've been looking at in the future is maybe connecting Taiga up to Lakeshore, because Lakeshore came after Taiga, but like that's pretty short. Not Eastern. Plains has been kind of just thrown up there because of so far that's been the only one I've seen as feasible. But
The only other one that I've seen that's been talked about is extending the Marina shuttle north to Hendon.
Yes.
Not
Like,
approved.
we
Will never be approved.
that.
No, hang on, AP. Think about it. It actually makes sense. You go
No,
north,
don't.
you sign it XM.
I can see. Okay, but then you have a lot of development in New New Phoenix.
Yeah,
If you
go
can get
serve
permissions for New Phoenix,
there.
Chief,
That's not. It's not impossible.
Chief, I'm not sure. There was a fire at the Marina shuttle years ago.
Yeah.
Because that was if you think you can kill the Marina shuttle that easily, ooh, you're in for a treat.
No, the Marina shuttle is not dying at all. The Marina shuttle is alive and well.
It's
And
all the
it's doing
best
big one.
features of a cockroach. It's small, hard to kill, doesn't have a head, and I'm pretty sure it scares people.
Can someone with the trustee meeting notes please bring them to
Yes.
me?
Wait, you mean we weren't in the trustee meeting?
Thank you. Okay,
Exposed.
got him.
Unrelated, but hi, Bat.
What?
Don't ask.
Just get.
Okay, let me read the trustee meeting notes. For those who are new or forget how this works, if you have a question, please. So if you have a question, there's two ways to do it. So you can either post the text of your question in the meeting live channel, or ask to be unmuted. Either way, if you have a question that you would like, please ping me in your message so it's very easy for me to find your question. So now is the time to start posting questions in the meeting live channel in Discord if you have them. While you guys are writing your questions, I will read the trustee meeting notes. I also have an announcement from Wipeout. Wipeout is asking for if there are a couple more people who are able to sign up for Assassins, as the Assassins cast is down by a couple of people. Assassins will be happening at 7 p.m. UTC tomorrow. So basically same time that the GSM started, but tomorrow. So if you're able to participate or want to know more, please contact Wipeout111 for details on Assassins.
Wait,
We're not
AP,
accepting
there wasn't
student.
any wording on an extension on the A12. It was a bypass. Like if you look at, you had the map.
The A12 had. I thought that we approved the extension already at a previous thing. If there was an extension.
Because the wording here is just a bypass.
Okay, can someone go dig that up while I read the trustee meeting notes? Oh God, why? Never mind. I know why. It's because we've been doing this for years and we're clearly all tired. Okay, the trustee meeting notes are as follows. Joe Biden is nominated for trustee. Frumple is now head trustee. Bargain Bin Admin is nominated for trustee. Switch the server to Hannah Montana Linux. Promote the Pacific Ocean to head owner. Kim Jong-un is nominated for trustee. Promote Tux the Penguin to owner. Promote Chief Bazex to owner. Promote Eris the Eagle to admin and make him the guest rights coordinator. Vladimir Putin is nominated for moderator. Promote Migwin's microwave to moderator. Promote Puffy OpenBSD to moderator. Pi, why are you submitting all of these Linux distributions or made up Linux
mascots?
Promote Puffy OpenBSD to moderator. Recognize SpaceX as a valid transport company. Recognize _Pi as the head of Cake. Make the birds follow instructions at Central City Airport. World edit the entirety of Gemstride Melodia Airfield, which has the code of Golf Sierra Mike to GSM Town. Cancel gravity on the server. Ban hyperloops on the server. Wireless mice are now referred to as hamsters. Merge the red, blue, yellow, green, orange lines into the western, northern, southern, eastern, and Mesa lines respectively via multiverse portal. Ban ad mod owners from the trustee meeting. Blame Chief for every second you breathe. Make Rio Guitar Freaks the MRT mascot. Alex Trebek and Sean Connery were great.
The hamsters.
Well,
Well done, trustees. Well done.
I shall now go. I shall now go to Bawabik. So if anyone would like
What
to,
the hell is that change.org file?
Okay.
if anyone would like to follow me while I deposit this, TP Auto. If anyone would like to follow me while I deposit this in the library, we can start answering questions.
Just before you go to the questions, there's some announcements I have to make. The video contest, the deadline for submissions is the end of. Actually, is it already now? I guess it's actually in a few hours. It is 11:59 p.m. UTC. So please try to get it in. If you're a little bit late, I'll be a little bit okay with you submitting. I think I'm only expecting one submission, maybe two. It looks like we're going to get about 6 or 7 submissions. Half of them are short, half of them are long form. I'll try to get the voting form up by tomorrow, and I believe the results. My plan is, I think, right after the ISM on the 28th. That's when it is. That's when I'll do the results, and I'll be showing the videos also on stream, except for Fred Rail, because that's too long. maybe excerpts of it. I'll figure something out. But yeah.
So,
hey, who took the trustee meeting notes? No, don't take the trustee.
I've got a copy of them if you need them.
I got them.
Beta stress tests while we're doing questions?
Not during. No, what we're gonna do is after questions are done, the meeting's completely over. I'm shutting down main server, and then beta server will come back
permanently, and then we're done. Goodbye, everybody.
Yeah, yes, yep. It's over, guys.
Let it burn.
Are we updating after the GSM?
No, we're stress testing.
Yeah. So
yeah. all the memory, all the RAM that main usually uses is going to be sent over to beta so that we can stress test the hell out of beta.
Yeah.
And basically, this is final performance testing.
Yep. The performance test will be a half an hour to an hour. I'll let you guys know when main is back up. If it goes well, then we'll probably be updating main server by Monday at earliest. So I'll give it additional announcements from there.
Okay. So I have 3 Discord pings with questions. So let's see if I can actually find them. Cody's we've answered. Fred's we've answered.
Beta is not online yet. I'll let you know when it's online.
Aria, the main server will be shutting down for an hour or two with all the RAM being used in the beta test of 1.16.4.
Yeah, it's probably just
it is
no
1.16.4.
No longer than an hour, like half an hour. Probably.
Yeah, sorry.
Like, go eat dinner. If you need to, like, while we're doing this, if you don't want to be involved, like, go eat.
I do actually have a question. Assuming this test goes well, when do you think the timeline for an update will be?
I just explained that.
Just said that Monday.
Oh, Monday, sorry.
Monday,
Cody, beta server's not online yet. I will let you guys know when it's online. So just hold your horses.
If you want to be involved, just
for now we're just doing questions. Stop paying me to turn on beta. Gee, what the hell? Stop.
Okay. Are there any other questions? Did I miss one, or is that? Robin would like me to announce that the reveal of the next host of the Snapshot series is going to happen while people are in beta.
Stop.
Here's a question for all of you guys. Which of the, unless you're the people who are involved, and you know which one, and you know who you are, can you guess which trustee motions I bribed people to submit? I'll let you guys come to Bawabik and read the notes and guess which ones, and then PM me. But
SpaceX and Hyperloop. That's my theory.
Sasha, to answer your question, I don't think you're under. So how it works is main server just gets updated with whatever is on the server at the time. So it's really just the latest stuff. So there's no beta works differently because we have to copy data from main, and that's what's happened. That's what happened a couple days ago.
But when we update main, we're just updating the server software. We're keeping the world the same.
Yeah, it's just going to continue as usual.
Cody, we're not done yet.
Cody, this is probably a bad time to ask for worlds because I'm going to shut down main pretty soon.
Why, pal? Don't. What kind of freaking box is that?
Right. I'm going to make my own announcement here. In terms of with the CC revamp project, I'll very shortly be linking a spreadsheet. I hope people don't grief it. If I do, but yes. So what is there is a building reference. I've put a map in. Building owner. But the purposes and whether it's complete, incomplete, I've got 4 categories there.
AP, I'm not sure if I recommend that because do you remember what happened with our place? Wasn't there a spreadsheet like that before, and people kept moving things in this?
Fair.
I don't know if this is a good idea.
AP, make it. You can make it view only, and then as you then you have to get people's emails.
Yeah. So last call for questions, guys. This is
last call for questions.
Kitty was just checking. I think Kitty might have one, maybe.
No, I think just.
Oh,
Kitty was just Fred asking. Says his questions aren't being read.
Fred, that's because we're not taking silly questions right now.
Noah, I don't know what you just said, but I don't think that's a question either.
I don't think. Oh, Noah's in here. Okay.
That's it. Oh, no.
We're not taking silly. Okay, the fact that the chat has devolved into silly questions means we're done. So we're done. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your beta test. Enjoy your beta test.
I gotta run do something else with it, so
I gotta do a few things. So I'm probably not gonna be that involved. I'm probably gonna go. I'm probably gonna go watch the 8-Bit Drummer.
Ciao, folks.
I'll stick around for beta.
Okay, if you're participating in beta tests, you should probably stick around on this Discord channel because I will provide instructions on how this works.
Oh yeah, foot chicken. We redacted topic was about we already mentioned it earlier. It's about kind of modern nominations, how we're going to go forward from there. The more specifics will be in the propaganda.
Yeah, I'll probably do propaganda. Probably sometime tomorrow. So unless CC beats me to it. But...